What's up, YouTube? My name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka What Kind of Snatch You Want because I got plenty to go around. This is my WWE Backlash review on highlights. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please go watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel. Follow my social media down below in the description, and go check out my WWE SmackDown review on highlights I post on the channel. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, WWE Backlash was a very good show, and it was way better than WrestleMania 41 for both nights. The main event between Randy Orton and John Cena was way better than John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. That's just my opinion. I'm going to stand on it. All right. WWE Backlash was live from St. Louis, Missouri. Commentary tonight were Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. Video highlights WWE Backlash hype video showcasing all the big matches scheduled for tonight. We go live into the Enterprise Center to see a big protagonist display. Michael Cole and Wade Barry welcome us to the show. Pat McAfee will normally be on commentary with them, but he is scheduled to face Gunther later tonight. And that match by Gunther and Pat McAfee was the worst match of the night. That's all I gotta say. All right, let's move on. We get the first match: United States Championship Fatal 4-Way match. LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest versus Jacob Fatu. And I did not know Jeff Cobb debuted, but Jeff Cobb debuted. But this was a good Fatal 4-Way match. All right. The bell rings and LA Knight points at Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu extends his hand. The crowd is buzzing and chanting Jacob Fatu. LA Knight pulls after Jacob Fatu while Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, who fought at WrestleMania 41, go at it. Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest quickly fall to ringside and continue to brawl. In the ring, Jacob Fatu headbutts LA Knight. LA Knight fights back and punches away at Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu grabs him by the head and throws him to the opposite corner. Jacob Fatu charge, but LA Knight sidesteps him and hits a neckbreaker. Damian Priest runs in, but LA Knight drops him with a back suplex. LA Knight catches Drew McIntyre with a baseball slide and hits Jacob Fatu with a slingshot battering ram. LA Knight catches Jacob Fatu with a sunset flip backbreaker and slams Drew McIntyre down. LA Knight gets the crowd going, but Damian Priest grabs him by the throat. LA Knight drops Damian Priest with a DDT before hitting Drew McIntyre with an elbow drop. Jacob Fatu set up for a Samoan drop on LA Knight, but LA Knight counters with a reverse DDT for a 1 count. Jacob Fatu drives LA Knight to the corner and uppercuts him. Damian Priest grabs Jacob Fatu, but Jacob Fatu knocks him back. LA Knight and Damian Priest quickly team up to take Jacob Fatu down with a high and low. LA Knight and Damian Priest send Jacob Fatu into the ring post, damaging his shoulder. Damian Priest attacks LA Knight. Drew McIntyre runs in and hits LA Knight with an overhead belly to belly suplex before hitting Damian Priest with a spine buster. Drew McIntyre drops LA Knight with a neck breaker before hitting Damian Priest with one. Jacob Fatu runs in, but Drew McIntyre ducks a clothesline and hits him with a neck breaker. Drew McIntyre kicks up and poses. Drew McIntyre ties Jacob Fatu up for a Claymore kick, but LA Knight clotheslines him down. Jacob Fatu super kicks LA Knight down and kicks him out of the ring. Jacob Fatu elbows Damian Priest back and goes to the top rope, but Damian Priest knocks and kicks him in the face. Damian Priest hits a super hurricanrana on Jacob Fatu before hitting LA Knight with a flatliner. Damian Priest exits the ring and jumps off the steps with a double axe handle. Damian Priest gets Jacob Fatu in the ring and knocks him in the face. Damian Priest grabs the arm and starts up the old school top rope walk. Damian Priest dives off the ropes with a crossbody block on Drew McIntyre. Damian Priest then turns Jacob Fatu inside out with a clothesline. Damian Priest hits Drew McIntyre and LA Knight with a running back elbow. Damian Priest clotheslines Drew McIntyre over the top rope and takes LA Knight down with a spinning heel kick. Damian Priest goes outside and charges Jacob Fatu, but Jacob Fatu crushes him with a Samoan drop onto the edge of the barricade. The crowd goes wild for Jacob Fatu as he slaps the commentary table. Drew McIntyre looks at Jacob Fatu from the other side of the ring. They intensely stare at each other and gets on the apron on opposite side of the ring. They get in the ring and stare at each other. They soon approach each other and exchange right hands. Drew McIntyre rocks Jacob Fatu with a Glasgow kiss. Drew McIntyre hits the ropes, but Jacob Fatu hits a big back elbow. Jacob Fatu follows up with a Samoan drop before crushing him with a running hip attack. Jacob for two posts in the center of the ring, and Drew McIntyre looks to be unconscious. Jacob for two pushes Drew McIntyre near the center of the ring. The crowd chants, "This is awesome." Jacob Fatu nods at the crowd as he climbs the top rope. Drew McIntyre digs his thumb into his eyes and set up for a superplex. LA Knight sweeps Drew McIntyre's feet and puts him in the trio hold. LA Knight kicks away at the prone Drew McIntyre before backing up and hitting a running knee to the midsection. Drew McIntyre climbs over Drew McIntyre and grabs Jacob Fatu, but Jacob Fatu knocks him away. Jacob Fatu sets up, but Drew McIntyre sets up and hits Jacob Fatu with the belly to belly superplex. Landing Jacob Fatu onto LA Knight. Jacob Fatu immediately pops up and hits Drew McIntyre with a running hip attack. Jacob Fatu then hits the ropes and crushes Damian Priest with a suicide dive. The crowd is going wild for Jacob Fatu as he goes to the top rope. Jacob Fatu hits Drew McIntyre with a swanton bomb and grinds. LA Knight hits Jacob Fatu with a blunt force trauma. Damian Priest hits LA Knight with South of Heaven. Drew McIntyre then hits Damian Priest with a Claymore kick. Damian Priest falls onto LA Knight. 1-2. Drew McIntyre breaks up the pin. The crowd loudly chants, "This is awesome." Once again, Jacob Fatu gets to his feet and Grace. Drew McIntyre hits him with a back elbow and connects with a future shot DDT. LA Knight counts out of the future shot DDT. Drew McIntyre gets out of BFT and hits a future shot DDT. Drew McIntyre kicks out and signals for the end. Drew McIntyre counts down and hits LA Knight with a Claymore kick. 1-2. Damian Priest pulls the referee out of the ring. Drew McIntyre is furious. Damian Priest has once again screwed him out of a title. Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest brought at ringside before violently going over the barricade into the timekeeper's area. In the ring, Jacob Fatu strikes away at LA Knight with headbutts. The crowd is going wild for Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu goes for a double jump moonsault, but LA Knight rolls out of the way. LA Knight goes to the second rope, does his stunt, and leads to the top rope for a diving elbow drop. LA Knight hits it again and covers for a near fall. We then cut to see Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest brawling in the crowd. They brawl onto the crate, and Drew McIntyre set up for a suplex off the crate. Damian Priest breaks Drew McIntyre's eyes to avoid it. Damian Priest pulls the straps down and grabs Drew McIntyre by the throat. Damian Priest crushes Drew McIntyre with a South of Heaven off the crates through the two tables. WWE officials immediately runs out to check on both men. What a bump. Alright. Back at ringside, LA Knight draws Jake over to into the ring apron. Before sending him head first into the ring post, LA Knight bounces Jacob Fatu off the commentary table. A piece of the table falls off, so LA Knight strikes Jacob Fatu with it. LA Knight lays Jacob Fatu on the table and heads to the second rope. Solo Sikoa runs to ringside and pulls Jacob Fatu off the table. The crowd loudly boos him. LA Knight approaches Solo Sikoa, but someone from the crowd blindside him. It's Jeff Cobb. The crowd goes wild for Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb sends LA Knight into the ring post and the barricade a few times. Jeff Cobb avalanches him against the ring post. Jeff Cobb sends LA Knight into the ring. Jacob Fatu looks confused to see Jeff Cobb and angrily look at Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa motions towards the ring before Jacob Fatu looks reluctant, reluctant to get inside. Jacob Fatu eventually gets in the ring and hits LA Knight with a running hip attack. Jacob Fatu hits LA Knight with a double jump moonsault for the victory. The winner of the match by pinfall and still your United States champion, Jacob Fatu. This was a good match. This was a very good Fatal 4-Way match. Solo Sikoa and Jeff Cobb walk off together. They wait for Jacob Fatu, but he walks off on his own with the United States Championship over his shoulder. I believe that Jacob Fatu is going to turn on Solo Sikoa. That's all I gotta say. I can definitely see it. Alright. Jacob Fatu pins LA Knight to win the Fatal 4-Way and retain the United States Championship. Hashtag WWE Backlash. Let's move on. Absolutely killer Fatal 4-Way to kick off WWE Backlash. Fantastic action throughout. And great to see Jeff Cobb debut and join the fiddling stable managed by Solo Sikoa, who has had a huge fall from grace after losing on the first WWE Raw on Netflix. Jeff Cobb got a superstar reaction. All right, let's move on. On June 28th, WWE Night of Champions will take place at Saudi Arabia. The commentators run down the number of times John Cena and Randy Orton have shared a ring. They have shared the ring 93 times with 23 one-on-one matches, 19 multi-man matches, and 51 tag team matches. Video package Women's Intercontinental Champion. So we get the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. The man Becky Lynch versus Lyra Kira. This was the match of the night right here. Um, Becky Lynch did not need to win tonight. So Lyra Kira got that dog within her. No matter where Lyra Kira has the match against, Lyra Kira has that dog within her. This was the match of the night right here. All right. In my opinion, this match should have been main evented, but it didn't. But this was the match of the night right here. This match was fantastic. This is the first time the Women's Intercontinental Championship has been defended on a premium live event. They lock up and Becky Lynch powers her to the corner. Becky Lynch talks a little trash, so Lyra Kira stops her. They do some standing switches before Becky Lynch hits a waistline takeover. Lyra Kira elbows her off and hits the ropes, but Becky Lynch follows her into the ropes and shoulder tackles her. Becky Lynch talks trash. Becky Lynch hits the ropes, but Lyra Kira drops down and leapfrogs her. Lyra Kira manages to take her down for a one count. Becky Lynch hits an arm drag and taunts the crowd. Lyra Kira looks unpraised. Lyra Kira grabs a race like Bud. Becky Lynch fights out. Lyra Kira slides through the legs, avoiding a kick, and takes Becky Lynch down with a pendulum submission. Lyra Kira draws her and applies a Mexican surfboard stretch. Lyra Kira rolls her over and pulls her back up. Lyra Kira drops her down and pulls her back up before dropping her back for a two count. Lyra Kira soon hits the Northern Light suplex for a two count. Lyra Kira talks trash to Becky Lynch and kicks her out of the ring. Lyra Kira gets the crowd going and she hits the ropes and hits a wrecking ball drop kick. Lyra Kira gets Becky Lynch back into the ring and heads to the top rope. Becky Lynch sweeps the feet and rips Lyra Kira down to the mat. Becky Lynch clubs away at Lyra Kira and sneers at the crowd and they boo her. Becky Lynch's left elbow is bleeding. Becky Lynch rolls Lyra Kid's face into the mat and covers for a one count. Becky Lynch talks trash. Lyra Kid tries to fight back, but Becky Lynch cuts her off. Becky Lynch slaps and chops Lyra Kid down in the corner before taunting the crowd. Becky Lynch pulls the hair to pull Lyra Kid to her feet. Lyra Kid avoids an avalanche, but Becky Lynch soon fights back and hits a springboard kick. Becky Lynch follows up with a Exploder and covers, but Lyra Kira shoulder aren't down at first. Becky Lynch shifts to her position and picks up a one count. Becky Lynch argues with the referee. Becky Lynch chokes Lyra Kira on the bottom rope and continues to taunt the crowd. Becky Lynch sends Lyra Kira out of the ring and hits a baseball slide. Becky Lynch drives Lyra Kira into the barricade and yells at Lyra Kira's fiance. Lyra Kira fights back, but Becky Lynch drives her into the ring post. Becky Lynch gets Lyra Kira in the ring and pick up a two count. The crowd starts coming around on Becky Lynch and chants Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch shows Lyra Kira a few times, but Lyra Kira replies with a slap. Becky Lynch widely slaps her back and goes for a back exploder, but Lyra Kira gets out of it. Lyra Kira hits a running fisherman suplex. Both women are down. Lyra Kira gets up and is fired up. Lyra Kira hits a pair of clotheslines before kicking away at Becky Lynch and hitting a step up insecurity. Lyra Kira connects with a gut wrench sit out powerbomb for a near fall. Lyra Kira cannot believe it. Becky Lynch rose to the apron. Becky Lynch soon punches and kicks Lyra Kira back from the apron. Becky Lynch goes for no, I'm sorry. Becky Lynch goes to the top rope, but Lyra Kira cuts her off and hits a delayed suplex for a near fall. Lyra Kira is wondering what she has to do to put Becky Lynch away. Lyra Kira lifts her, but Becky Lynch slides off. Lyra Kira rolls her up, but Becky Lynch rolls through and grabs the bottom rope. The referee catches Becky Lynch cheating and stops the count. Becky Lynch fires back with a reverse DDT for a near fall. Becky Lynch is getting frustrated. The crowd starts to chant for Lyra Kira. Becky Lynch gets up and talks trash. The crowd boos. Lyra Kira gets out of a manhandle slam and sends her to the corner. Lyra Kira manages to dump her out of the ring and hits a plancha. Lyra Kira gets her in the ring and goes to the top rope. Lyra Kira connects with a diving leg drop to the back of the neck. Lyra Kira positions Becky Lynch and picks up a 2 count. Lyra Kira goes for a moonsault, but Becky Lynch gets the knees up. Both women soon gets up and starts trading strikes. Lyra Kira goes for a backslide pin, but Becky Lynch takes her down with a double arm slam into a cross armbreaker attempt. Lyra Kira gets out and applies a cross arm breaker. Becky Lynch manages to fight out and applies a disarmer. Lyra Kira gets out and rolls her up for a 2 count. Becky Lynch goes for a manhandle slam, but Lyra Kira counters and with a roll up for a 2 count. Becky Lynch props up and hits a manhandle slam. 1-2. Lyra Kira kicks out. Becky Lynch is stunned. The crowd chants, "This is awesome." Becky Lynch wonders what to do what to do and starts to punch away at Lyra Kira. Becky Lynch goes outside and grabs a steel chair. The referee stops Becky Lynch from using the steel chair and throws it out of the ring. As the referee Jessica Carr does that, Becky Lynch exposes the top turnbuckle. Lyra Kira avoids being sent into the exposed turnbuckle and hits a German suplex. Lyra Kira connects with a spin kick and goes for the second roll for a moonsault. 1-2. Becky Lynch kicks out. Becky Lynch pulls Lyra Kira pulls Becky Lynch to her shoulders. Becky Lynch Becky Lynch slides off it and nearly sends her into the exposed turnbuckle, but Lyra Kira hits the second turnbuckle, which is still covered. Becky Lynch hits a manhandle slam and covers 1-2. Lyra Kira kicks out. Becky Lynch is stunned and strikes away at Lyra Kira. The referee stops Becky Lynch from sending Lyra Kira into the exposed turnbuckle and goes to put the pad back on. As she does, Lyra Kira hits a Nightwing. The referee's delayed, so Lyra Kira only gets a 2 count. Lyra Kira lifts Becky Lynch again, but Becky Lynch gets out of Nightwing. Becky Lynch goes for a manhandle slam, but Lyra Kira rolls her up for a 2 count. Becky Lynch quickly thumbs the eye. Becky Lynch rolls her up, but Lyra Kira rolls through and picks up the win. The winner by pinfall is still your women's Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Kira. This was the best match of the night. But Lyra Kira pinned Becky Lynch clean in the ring. That was a good spot right there. But this was a match of the night. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Good match by Lyra Kira and Becky Lynch, and they both got a standing ovation. But Lyra Kira has that dog within her. No matter who she goes in the ring with, Lyra Kira still has that dog within her. That's all I gotta say. This was the match of the night. A furious Becky Lynch immediately attacked Lyra Kira and clubs away at her. Becky Lynch applies the disarm her and chases it in. WWE officials pull Becky Lynch off her. Lyra Kira is holding her face and arm in pain. And irate Becky Lynch walks off. She tries to run back to the ring, but Jason Jordan stops her. A broken Lyra Kira gets her feet and holds up the title. What is Jason Jordan gonna do since Becky Lynch got in Jason Jordan's face and Jason Jordan didn't do nothing about it? But in my honest opinion, I can see Becky Lynch winning the Women's Money in the Bank this year, but I could be wrong. But anyway, this was the match of the night between Lyra Kira and Becky Lynch. Lyra Kira pins Becky Lynch to retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Hashtag WWE Backlash. Let's move on. Alright, another good match on WWE Backlash. This is exactly what they should be doing with the women's IC title. Make it a workhorse title for the undercard woman. Lyra Kira had a start making performance her against a legend in Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch looked revigorated. All right, let's move on. The first ever 2 night SummerSlam is coming to MetLife Stadium, hosted by Cardi B. Okay, but Castanet also is hosting SummerSlam too. If that happens, Castanet might as well bring AMP because it's been rumors that Castanet and Cardi B is gonna be hosting SummerSlam. So Castanet is going to bring AMP. I guarantee you. But anyway, let me continue. Video package footage shows John Cena and Randy Orton battle in January 19, 2002 in their first match at OVW. Their last match was on February 7, 2017 on SmackDown. Video package WWE Intercontinental Champion. WWE Intercontinental Champion Dirty Dominic Mysterio comes out to the stage with the Judgment Day, but they don't accompany him to ringside. Alright, let's move on. So we get WWE Intercontinental Championship match, Penta versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and this is the match that I did not care about. But I did want Penta to win, but somehow, Dirty Dominic Mysterio retained the Intercontinental Champion. But this is the match that I did not care about. But but I know it was Chad Gable costing Penta the Intercontinental Champion, so Penta's gonna get his gear back on Chad Gable. All right, let's move on. The bell rings and Mysterio. The bell rings and Dominic Mysterio shows Penta. Penta drop kicks him, but Dominic Mysterio quickly fights back. Dominic Mysterio sends him into the ropes, but Penta ducks a clothesline and hits a running hurricanrana. Dominic Mysterio hits the ropes, ducks a clothesline, and hits Penta with a running hurricanrana. Penta soon kicks Dominic Mysterio in the face and hits a backstabber for a 2 count. Penta charges, but Dominic Mysterio catches him on the top rope and knocks him to ringside. Dominic Mysterio hits the ropes and hits a suicide dive into a DDT. Wow, that was a great. That was a awesome move by Dominic Mysterio. I give him that. He is a suicide dive and turns it into a DDT. I give Dominic Mysterio credit for that. All right. Dominic Mysterio grabs Penta and they soon begin trading chops. Dominic Mysterio dives Penta into the ring steps and gets in the ring to celebrate. Dominic Mysterio goes outside and puts Penta back into the ring. They are dueling chants from for both men. Dominic Mysterio hits a slingshot senton for a 2 count. Dominic Mysterio stumps away and Penta and punches him before opposing. Dominic Mysterio covers, but Penta grabs the bottom rope. Dominic Mysterio applies a weird chin lock. Penta fights up, so Dominic Mysterio sends him into the ropes. Penta lowers his head and eats a kick. Penta fights back with a reverse sling blade. Dominic Mysterio rolls out of the ring to recover. Penta goes to the top rope and stands on the top of the ring post before hitting a crossbody block. Um, hits a crossbody block to the floor. The referee starts counting them out, but the but but to get into the ring before the 10 count. Dominic Mysterio starts up the Three Amigos, but only hits one before Penta cuts it off. Dominic Mysterio knocks him into the ropes for a 619, but Penta avoids it. Penta slingshots into the ring with a perfect pin for a 2 count. Dominic Mysterio soon knocks Penta into the ropes and hits an oblivion for a near fall. That's the same thing that Liv Morgan did. So that's all I gotta say. Dominic Mysterio goes for a running monkey flip, but Penta turns him into the top rope. Penta kicks him, but Dominic Mysterio knocks him to the apron. Dominic Mysterio goes for a suplex on the apron, but Penta kicks him away. Penta then hits Dominic Mysterio with a Mexican Destroyer on the apron. That was a brutal spot right there when Penta hit Dominic Mysterio with the Mexican Destroyer on the apron. That was a brutal spot. All right, Carlito runs down to distract the referee. Finn Balor and JD Madonna grab Penta. Finn Balor could strike Penta, but he delays and grabs a chair. The referee sees them and ejects them from ringside before they can do anything to Penta. Penta hits them with a top rope Carl Hilo. Finn Balor managed to avoid it. Penta gets in the ring and hits Dominic Mysterio with a super kick. Finn Balor gets on the apron and distracts the referee. As he does, El Grande Americano Chad Gable headbutts him with a loaded mask. Dominic Mysterio goes to the top rope and the crowd is going crazy. Dirty Dominic Mysterio hits a fall splash for the win. The winner by pinfall is still your WWE Intercontinental Champion, Dirty Dominic Mysterio. And this is the match that I did not care, but it is what it is. Dominic Mysterio celebrates with the Judgment Day. Dominic Mysterio shouts that he's the greatest of all time. But did you see the look on Finn Balor's face that he wants the Intercontinental Championship? So I think that Finn Balor's gonna take the title off of Dominic Mysterio when Finn Balor returns on the Judgment Day. So it is what it is. But this is the match I did not really care about. All right. It says Dominic Mysterio pins Penta to retain the Intercontinental Championship. #BackLash. All right, let's move on. Another very good match on WWE Backlash. Dirty Dom Nick Mysterio is getting superstar reactions and is really coming into his own in the ring. Great match against Penta, lots of interference, but the crowd reaction made this a ton of fun. But I did not really care about that match. I just want that match to be over with. All right, this Monday on Raw, AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. That's gonna be a good one. The War Raiders versus American Made. Rhea Ripley and the Women's World Champion Io Sky versus the Prodigy Roxanne Perez and NXT Women's Champion. Um, yeah, Roxanne Perez and NXT Women's Champion. Um, um, who is it? I think Stephanie McCure and Julia. All right, CM Punk returns. I think that CM Punk is going to battle John Cena, and I think yeah, John Cena and CM Punk battled at Money in the Bank last year, and CM Punk took the WWE title with him. So I believe they're gonna. I believe that CM Punk and John Cena are going to run it back, but I do not know when. All right. So schedule for Saturday night's main event in 2 weeks. Main event Jey Uso will defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Logan Paul. Like I said, Logan Paul is now going to be Jey Uso. Jey Uso is going to retain the World Heavyweight Championship at main event. So I got my boy Jey Uso retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. I do not want to see Logan Paul with the World Heavyweight Championship. But anyway, let me continue. Tonight, John Cena and Randy will battle on Backlash for the third time. This is their 11 PLE one-on-one match against each other. The series is tied 5-5. It will be their 24th match with a title on the line. The Karate Kid Legend section is shown. All right, video package. Gunther versus Pat McAfee. All right, all right. And yeah. Pat McAfee makes his entrance. He slaps hands with Michael Cole. Michael Cole apologizes for getting Pat McAfee into this situation. He apologizes because he'll be biased for the match. Here I come. Yeah. All right. All right. So we get the next match. So we get Pat McAfee versus the Ring General Gunther. This was the worst match of the night. Pat McAfee was down during the entire match. But this was the worst match of the night, man. All right. The bell rings and Pat McAfee pulls off his football jersey. Gunther smirks at Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee looks intense. The crowd chants, "You tapped out," to Gunther. They lock up, and Gunther easily shoves Pat McAfee off. They take a few moments before locking up again. Gunther hooks a side headlock and slings Pat McAfee off. Pat McAfee gets to his feet and adjusts his neck. Gunther wrenches the arm and slaps him in the back of the head a few times. Pat McAfee flips through and kills up before avoiding a chop. The crowd loudly cheers Pat McAfee. Gunther smiles broadly. But one thing I like about Pat McAfee is standing up. Pat McAfee is standing up. Is just standing up with Michael Cole. I like how Pat McAfee is standing up with Michael Cole. I like that. So that's all I gotta say. But let me continue. Hey, let's go, Pat McAfee. Chan picks up. Pat McAfee applies a front face lock. Gunther drops him onto the apron. Gunther gets out of it, and Pat McAfee on the head. This infuriates Pat McAfee, who responds with a right hand. Pat McAfee tries to slingshot into the ring, but he slips. Pat McAfee quickly gets to his feet and punches away at Gunther. Pat McAfee hits the ropes, but Gunther wipes him out with a chop. Gunther grabs Pat McAfee and clubs him on the back before kicking him in the head a few times. Pat McAfee responds with some body shots and a chop. Gunther challenges him to hit him harder. Pat McAfee hits a few more chops before Gunther lays him out with one chop. Gunther takes some time before pulling him up and chopping away at him. Pat McAfee looks unconsciousness on his feet, and so Gunther chops him down to the mat. The referee checks on Pat McAfee. Gunther smiles at Michael Cole, yelling at him from commentary. Gunther wrenches the arm and sends him into the ropes for a shoulder tackle. Pat McAfee avoids an elbow drop and kicks him in the spine. Gunther fiercely gets to his feet and hits a snapmare before kicking him in the spine. All right. Michael Cole is rooting for Pat McAfee from the commentary. Pat McAfee pulls himself up and is getting fired up. Pat McAfee hits some chops, but Gunther crushes him with a vicious big boot. Michael Cole tells Gunther to just cover him. Gunther invites Michael Cole into the ring, but Michael Cole doesn't oblige him. The crowd loudly chants, "You tapped out," towards Gunther. Gunther is starting to get frustrated. Gunther grabs Pat McAfee and holds him up while taunting Michael Cole. Pat McAfee pops up and slaps him harder in the face. Gunther responds with a chop and a German suplex. Gunther stands over Pat McAfee and grabs him by the hair. Gunther then applies a sleeper hold. Pat McAfee tries to fight back, but Gunther drops him with a German suplex. Michael Cole begs Gunther to end the match. Gunther taunts the crowd. Gunther puts Pat McAfee in the corner and clubs the chest before putting him on the top rope. Gunther goes for a German superplex, but Pat McAfee blocks it and elbows him off. Pat McAfee goes for a moonsault but lands on his feet. When Gunther moves, Gunther goes for a German suplex, but Pat McAfee lands on his feet again. Pat McAfee kicks him in the spine and chest before hitting a punt kick to the chest before a 2 count. Gunther immediately pops up and looks like nothing happened to him. Pat McAfee looks shocked. Pat McAfee slaps him in the face, but Gunther is unfazed. Pat McAfee chops him a few times before Gunther hits a chop. Pat McAfee lays in some stiff strikes, but Gunther shakes them off. They trade punches before Pat McAfee hits the ropes and hits a big boot. Pat McAfee, Pat McAfee follows up with a super kick. Gunther blocks a kick and hits a powerbomb. Michael Cole screams that Gunther has him beat and to just end the match. Gunther stares at Michael Cole before applying a Boston Crab. Michael Cole gets off commentary to a huge ovation and goes to the ring apron and to cheer Pat McAfee on. Gunther releases the Boston Crab and lays on Pat McAfee before elbowing him in the face a few times. Gunther stutters over and pulls Michael Cole into the ring. Gunther grabs Michael Cole and set up for a powerbomb. Pat McAfee boots Gunther in the face, but Gunther quickly boots him back down. Gunther furiously looks at Michael Cole. Pat McAfee rolls Gunther up for a near fall. Gunther goes to suplex Pat McAfee into the ring, but Michael Cole grabs the leg. Pat McAfee falls onto Gunther for a near fall. Gunther is furious at Michael Cole. Pat McAfee grabs Gunther with a sleeper hold, but Gunther gets out and turns him inside out with a clothesline. Gunther then looks at Michael Cole before trapping Pat McAfee in a sleeper hold. Pat McAfee tries to fight through the pain and looks like he eventually passed out. Pat McAfee soon stuns the crowd and fights up. Pat McAfee tries to elbow out, but Gunther pulls him down and keeps the sleeper hold applied. The referee checks on Pat McAfee and calls for the bell as Pat McAfee is unconscious. The winner by the winner by referee stoppage. The ring general Gunther. This was the worst match of the night. And no, it's not a toe to toe fight. No, it's not. But this was the match of the night. This was the worst match of the night. And I'm glad I said this was the worst match of the night. This match was terrible. Gunther is sweaty profusely as he celebrates his win. Michael Cole checks on Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee comes to and stares at Gunther. Pat McAfee gets to his feet, and Gunther shows a little respect to him before walking off. Michael Cole embraces Pat McAfee and leaves him in the ring to soak up the cheers from the crowd. That that was that was Pat McAfee's first real match since defeating Happy Corbin at SummerSlam 2022. It's been a while. He did slip coming over the top rope, but all he really had to do is do it had to do in this was hit Gunther hard as he could and get him. Yeah. All right, I'll be right back. I'm back, chat. I'm back. Sorry about the interruptions, but I'm back. All right, but that was the worst match of the night. That was Pat McAfee's first real match since defeating Happy Corbin at SummerSlam 2022. It's been a while. He did slip, come over the top rope, but all he really had to do in this was go through as hard as he can, and get hit. In turn, Pat McAfee did that good heat in this. All right, so we get the undisputed WWE Championship match. The Viper Randy Orton gets a huge ovation as he makes his way to the ring in his hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. Alright, so we get the main event of the evening. So we get the undisputed WWE Champion, the Viper Randy Orton versus 17-time World Champion John Cena. Also, I say this match was good, but the ending was bad, and that's all I gotta say. Alright, the bell rings and they lock up for the first time in a singles match in over 8 years. They break before locking up again. But neither man attempt anything yet. A loud Randy Orton chant picks up. John Cena looks for a handshake, but Randy Orton laughs and declines. John Cena talks a bit and extends his hand again. Randy Orton goes for the handshake, but John Cena pokes him in the eyes before applying a side headlock. Randy Orton whips him off and shoulder tackles him before poking him in the eye. John Cena immediately gets out of the ring and looks worried. Randy Orton pulls on the second rope. John Cena does not look happy. John Cena gets back in the ring and they lock up. Randy Orton powers John Cena to the corner and punches him. Randy Orton applies his side headlock and changes it in. The crowd chants, "You can't wrestle." Slash yes he can. John Cena whips Randy Orton off, drop down, and leap past him, but Randy Orton runs him over with a shoulder tackle. Randy Orton hits a headlock takeover and keeps it applied. John Cena fights up and whips him off, but Randy Orton runs him over with another shoulder tackle. John Cena gets out of the ring and goes to walk off. John Cena waves Randy Orton the crowd off as he looks for a cheap title retention using the championship advantage. Randy Orton runs after him and punches him back to ringside and gets him in the ring. Randy Orton gets in the ring and John Cena clotheslines him down. John Cena punches away at Randy Orton and puts him in the corner. John Cena starts up the 10 punches. Randy Orton fights him off and starts the 10 punches. Only he hits them 20 times. John Cena is stumbled around. John Cena uppercuts him down for a 2 count. Randy Orton starts up the Garvin stomp. Randy Orton backs up and drops a knee for a 2 count. Randy Orton waits for John Cena to get up. John Cena reverses a whip, applies a sleeper hold. John Cena jumps on Randy Orton's back and nearly brings him down, but Randy Orton fights him off. Randy Orton sends John Cena into the ropes and applies a sleeper hold. John Cena whips Randy Orton off and goes back into the sleeper hold. The crowd starts to boo Randy Orton and whips John Cena off and applies a sleeper hold. They trade sleeper holds until Randy Orton drops him with a back suplex. Both men are down. John Cena soon gets up and hits a pair of diving shoulder tackles before hitting a back suplex powerbomb. John Cena smiles at the crowd and signals for the five knuckle shuffle. John Cena hits it, and Randy Orton is stumbling around. John Cena lifts Randy Orton for an attitude adjustment, but Randy Orton slides off. Randy Orton hits a pair of clotheslines. Doug ducks a clothesline and hits a snap power slam. John Cena rolls to the apron to recover, but Randy Orton the head hooks the head for a draping DDT. John Cena comes off the ropes and rolls him up for a 2 count. John Cena quickly applies the STF. Randy Orton fights through, so John Cena releases the hold. Randy Orton kicks him off and hits a draping DDT. Randy Orton holds his back in pain and starts to get fired up. Randy Orton drops down and starts his spray. John Cena slowly gets up and shows off an RKO attempt. John Cena lifts Randy Orton for an attitude adjustment, but Randy Orton counters midair with an RKO. Alright, so that was Randy Orton's first RKO. The crowd is enjoying the match and chants, "This is awesome." They slowly get up and exchange punches and kicks. Randy Orton soon hits an uppercut, but John Cena fires back with an AA. 1-2, Randy Orton kicks out. There are dueling chants from John Cena. John Cena stalks him and goes for another AA, but Randy Orton grabs the top rope. John Cena lets him go and hits the ropes for a diving shoulder tackle. John Cena goes for the second one, but Randy Orton counters with an RKO. John Cena immediately rolls towards the ropes. Randy Orton size John Cena up for a punt kick, but John Cena moves. John Cena hits another AA. 1-2. Randy Orton kicks out again. John Cena slowly gets up and John Cena slowly gets up and looks over at Randy Orton. John Cena goes for a punt kick, but Randy Orton moves. Randy Orton goes for an RKO, but John Cena shoves him into the referee. John Cena grabs Randy Orton and hits the third AA, but the referee is down. John Cena smiles and motions for the crowd to be quiet. John Cena goes outside and grabs the undisputed WWE champion. John Cena gets into the ring with the title, and Orton draws him with an RKO. The referee regains consciousness and chants 1-2. John Cena kicks out. John Cena rolls out of the ring to recover. The crowd is furious and chants "Bull, bull, you know what." Randy Orton goes outside and clears off the commentary table. The referee Chad Patton and admonishes Randy Orton, but John Cena shoves Randy Orton into Patton Patton, not getting Patton head first into the ring steps. They there are dueling chants for John Cena. John Cena laughs at the crowd and lifts Randy Orton for an AA. Randy Orton gets off and lifts John Cena onto his shoulders before hitting an AA onto the commentary table. The table has a delayed break. Randy Orton grabs John Cena and bounces his face off the reckoning off the table. Randy Orton looks under the ring but doesn't find what he's looking for. He circles around, but he's facing the lead portion of the apron, so he has to walk around the ring to eventually pull a table out. Randy Orton sets up the table at ringside. Randy Orton grabs John Cena and bounces him off the barricade. John Cena fights back and bounces Randy Orton off the barricade in the steel steps. John Cena goes for the attitude adjustment through the table at ringside, but Randy Orton slides off and hits John Cena with another attitude adjustment through the table. Randy Orton gets John Cena in the ring, and the crowd chants, "This is awesome." Randy Orton starts John Cena in the ring and hits an RKO, but there's no referee. Eddie Origo runs down and starts to count 1-2. John Cena kicks out. Randy Orton isn't happy with red goes count. John Cena goes to hit Randy Orton with the title, but Randy Orton ducks and Orego gets hit instead. Randy Orton hits John Cena with an RKO and covers Randy Orton. Has John Cena dead to rights, but there's no one there to count. WWE officials runs down to check on the referee. Randy Orton is furious and argues with SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis. So Nick Aldis talks to Randy Orton, but Randy Orton drops him with an RKO. Randy Orton then hits a producer with an RKO. Next is Shane Helms, Sean Devari, and Jamie Noble all receive RKOs. The crowd is going crazy. Randy Orton was crashing out when he RKO'd everybody in that ring. Randy Orton was straight up crashing out. All right. Randy Orton looks down at in unconscious John Cena and back up. Randy Orton sizes him up for a punt kick, but R-Truth runs. Oh yeah, but R-Truth runs in to come to aid of his childhood hero John Cena. What was R-Truth doing there? So R-Truth was not needed at ringside. Randy Orton his R-Truth with an RKO. Thank God. John Cena hits Randy Orton with a low blow before grabbing the undisputed WWE Championship, which is John Cena did cheated. He grabbed the WWE Championship. John Cena cracked Randy Orton in the skull and covers him. The referee Chad Patton slowly pulls himself in the ring. John Cena has Randy Orton pinned for a while. Patton starts to count 1, 2, 3. The winner by pinfall is still your undisputed WWE champion, John Cena. This was a good match, but it had a bad ending. So John Cena did cheat to retain the WWE undisputed WWE champion. So John Cena did cheat by John Cena hitting Randy Orton with the undisputed WWE championship. So John Cena did cheat. All right, the winner by pinfall is still your undisputed WWE champion, John Cena. This main event match was good, but it had a bad ending. All right. After taking a few moments to recover and allow the replay to show what happened, John Cena tells the production crew to cut his music. John Cena says he doesn't need music. What he needs is competition. John Cena says he doesn't need the crowd. John Cena tells St. Louis to drink it in because this is what the last real champion looks like. John Cena poses on the turnbuckles as 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 the show comes to an end. But I was waiting for something to happen, man. What if Goldberg came out of nowhere and speared John Cena? What if Goldberg would have came out of nowhere and speared John Cena? It'll be crazy. But it is what it is. John Cena pins Randy Orton to retain the undisputed WWE Championship at WWE Backlash. Now I got this feeling that maybe Randy Orton could be the winner, could win Money in the Bank this year, but I don't know. But I could be wrong by saying I could be wrong, but it's just my prediction. I believe that Randy Orton is going to win Money in the Bank this year, but I don't know if that's not the case, but I could be wrong. But anyway, let me continue. A solid match with John Cena and Randy Orton. Obviously not as good as their previous battles. John Cena has been extra cautious in the ring and taking careful bumps as he balances his WWE dates with Hollywood stuff. A lot of smoke and mirrors. Hashtag WWE backlash. But this match right here, this was good. This was way better than John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41 Night 2, which is that match itself was the worst match of the night at WrestleMania 41 Night 2. Their main event match was the worst match of the night between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. But this match was way better between John Cena and Randy Orton. That's all I gotta say. All right, it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame they didn't plan for John Cena to do anything half as good as this with Cody Rhodes in the main event of WrestleMania. John Cena's gimmick is too disappointing. The crowd with cheap finishes. They're really putting over the belt shot to the head. I'm sure he'll get a reset. Overall, I thought. Oh, it says overall, I thought this was a solid show with a lot of good action. Nothing groundbreaking, but everything delivered. Not in a bad way to spend a Saturday night's hashtag WWE Backlash. This was a good show, and I give it a 7 out of 10. And that's all I gotta say. But honestly, and yeah, that's all I have to say from here. Let me let me get my honest opinion what I think about WWE Backlash. Now WWE Backlash was a good show, and I give it a 7 out of 10. The main event, the match between John Cena and Randy Orton, that match was good, but it had a bad ending. And that match itself was way better than John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41 Night 2. That match was the worst match between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. That was the worst match of the night. But other than that, WWE Backlash was a good show, and I give it a 7 out of 10. And that's all I gotta say. If you guys enjoyed my WWE Backlash review on highlights, make sure you guys please watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel because I am a grinder on YouTube. So that's all I gotta say. Follow my social media down below in the description, and I will make a 3-minute YouTube short video of me showing you guys my thumbnail twice in that video because I really want you guys to see my thumbnail because the proof is in the pudding. Alright, so tomorrow, if I don't have nothing to do, I will stream live on Twitch for some WWE 2K25, and I'm going to just show you guys some like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I play like verse mode or whatever thing or two, but and yeah. So if I don't have nothing to do tomorrow, I will go live on Twitch for some WWE 2K25 because I'm trying my best to get to 50 followers over there on Twitch, so I can get to that affiliate. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. I got affiliate on my first Twitch, and then I lost my first Twitch, but I ain't gonna worry about that. I got affiliate before, but I'm gonna get affiliate again. But watch I reach 50 followers over there on Twitch. So if I stream live on Twitch tomorrow for some WWE 2K25, I want everybody, I want everybody to show up at my live stream for Twitch tomorrow. So for some WWE 2K25, I want everybody to show up and be a man of their word. All right. So this is your boy, Big Boy Snapshot TV, aka what kind of snacks you want, because I got plenty to go around. Have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kids, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang. And go check out my WWE SmackDown review on highlights. And also go check out my AEW Dynamite review on highlights. And also go check out my WWE NXT review on highlights that I did on the channel. Have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kids, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang. Like, comment, share, and subscribe because I'm on the road to 10K and become a YouTube partner. Make sure you guys run my videos for make sure you guys run my playlist for watch hours so I can get to 3,000 watch hours. That's all I gotta say. Because at the end of the day, it's just too sweet. Have a great night. Have a great night, guys, and stay blessed. Gang.